what's up, guys?
Hi.
Hey. Welcome back to JEREC. You might notice something a little different about our set, and it is not anything like a set or a prop, but it is an actual human being, and that is our good friend Emma.
Emma!
Hey, what's up, guys? Second E right here.
It's my love.
Yes. And Emma will be swapping off with Cash every single episode. So if you love Cash, I'm sorry, you only get him every other episode.
And if you're Emma, and if you're right, and you like me,
and then you only get her again every other episode.
Yeah.
And if you don't like any of them,
both of them, then you get me, EJ, and Rennie. And if you don't like any of us, leave.
What are you doing here?
This is not the podcast for you if you don't like any of us. So, transitioning from that, today we are talking about E.T., the lovely movie. So, I'm gonna go ahead and start us off with the synopsis.
Okay, cool.
Okay, ready? Picture the scene. This is E.T. When a friendly alien is stranded on Earth, a little 10-year-old boy named Elliot takes him into his home. They form a bond, and Elliot gives him the name E.T. Elliot decides to keep his existence a secret. However, E.T. falls ill, which results in government intervention. Elliot and his friends realize they need to come up with a plan to return E.T. to his home planet, even if it means Elliot will lose his new friend. That is E.T.
Yes.
Awesome.
A beautiful story.
Yes, great story.
Beautiful.
All right, we're gonna move on to hot takes, guys.
Yes.
So,
Hot takes.
If you remember from episode 1 Star Wars, it's just an episode or part of the segment where we are going to talk about parts we thought sucked, parts we thought were great, and just our overall idea of what we thought and our bias to this movie.
Yes.
I'll start off.
Okay.
The movie's phenomenal. That's my hot take.
No.
It's so good. Everything's great.
I don't like it. I don't like the
You
movie.
don't like
What?
E.T.?
What?
Pause. Hold on.
Whoa! Wait, she
I didn't
literally
like it.
you kept this a secret the whole time
I
because
don't like
what?
E.T.
Why?
What's
Give
wrong
me-
with it?
Give me one good reason why you don't like E.T.
It's just, it's not my kind of movie. I don't really like movies like that.
But
it's not.
EJ,
it's not my
I've
kind of
known you,
movie.
and it literally is your type of movie.
I don't like it.
Is it
Okay,
not?
what is wrong with E.T. that make E.T. is like one of the best movies ever?
I
What,
don't
it's so,
like it.
What?
I don't like it. Okay.
Did you
so-
not watch it when you were a kid?
No, I never watched it when I was a kid.
Whoa.
It would have scared me if I was a kid. It would have scared
Okay,
the crap out of me.
I
'Cause
think
I
we're
was
gonna get into
watching
that a
it-
little bit later in the episode,
Oh my
but
God,
yes,
it
I
kind of
agree.
scared
That's
me
horrible.
now. Like,
It's a
E.T.
great
is
movie.
terrifying.
But it is such a good movie. It's like so
nonetheless,
magical.
like,
What?
Yes, it's so wholesome and it's so. It gives you such like a warm
It is
feeling.
yes.
But like, I don't like it.
It's like it gets
Did
you
it
in all
not
the
get you like,
feels.
emotional at all? Like you didn't feel
No,
anything?
E.T. freaked me out.
Oh my
When
gosh.
you saw that
Hated
little
it.
E.T. waddle his way onto the spaceship for the last time, you didn't feel anything?
No.
You didn't cry watching the movie? Oh my gosh.
That's crazy.
What?
Hot take, EJ is crazy.
Thank you. I tried
Girl,
very hard.
what?
Okay, so my hot take was that it
I feel like our notes are gonna be so different from each other. Then.
it definitely is.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so I love the movie, but I feel like it wasn't as good as I remember it to be. As in, like when I was younger, this was my favorite movie of all time, and like 10 out of 10. Now maybe as like I'm older, like I can recognize a couple more mistakes.
Well, yeah.
That are more noticeable, and I don't think it's a perfect movie, but I still think it's such a good movie, and I'll still show this movie to my kids or any young kid I come across.
See, to kind of like add on to that, I think that us being film students, we like know the rules of like filmmaking and all of that. So I think we like judge it more than normal people who don't take film classes.
Yes,
so
for
like
sure.
I agree. Like now watching movies from my childhood, I'm like, oh, like some like I can see the mistakes. So.
But it's
But
still
it's still a great movie.
No, I'm saying that it's
Still
still
a great
good.
movie.
It's just like when I was younger, I was like, oh my gosh, this is the best.
Well,
movie
yeah,
I've ever
when
seen. It's
you
so
were
perfect.
younger,
No, it
I feel like the movie was more magical when we were little. But now you watch it and it's like,
No, it literally.
you know.
would've
To me
scared
though, I
so
feel like
much
it's
if I was a
more
child.
magical now. Like it's
More?
'cause
Like-
it held up.
But is it
So
because of like
good.
nostalgia?
Because then you look
Yeah,
back and
not
you're
really
like,
nostalgia. It's just that it just makes. I guess it is nostalgia. But
like,
like,
it is nostalgia. Yeah, I was gonna
Yeah.
say.
but
Because
it like
it's like
makes
you
me
watch,
so happy.
Yeah, you watch
Yeah.
it back from like when
But-
you watched it as
Oh,
a
no,
kid.
yeah.
I've never seen it. This was my first time watching it. I didn't watch it as a kid. My mom wouldn't let me. And I think for a very good reason, because she knew I would have been scared out of my mind from E.T., he would have freaked me out
Oh
as
my
a kid.
gosh.
I would have
Why?
been
He's
so
so
scared.
Cute. He's lovable.
No, he is
Look
not.
at that face.
they-
Give me that face.
That does
Give
not
me him.
depict
He's
how
sitting,
terrifying
he is sitting over here the rest
He
of
is
the time.
So
give me,
scary.
Give me him.
No.
He's
Toss it
sitting,
over.
No.
We're-
He's sitting over here the rest of the time.
This is
Hey,
cute.
listen.
This is nice. This is cute.
This
Okay,
is what
I
I
already
was
know
the
the
movie.
Okay, let me say that I think that the point of E.T. is to not be cute. Like his character,
The whole
he's
point-
an ugly
You
looking
learn to love him.
amphibian.
He's not
But
ugly.
his-
Guys,
He's
we have to keep in
His
mind.
his
Okay.
personality and like everything else in the movie makes you like, oh my gosh, even though he's so ugly, I still love him.
No,
Exactly.
the whole point of the movie, the whole message of the movie is love everyone even if they look different. So yeah, he's not gonna be super cute looking.
Yeah, EJ.
Okay, but anyways, my hot take is if kids saw the movie now, I don't think it would have anywhere near the same effect as it did for us
Disagree.
and older generations.
I actually.
Honestly, I feel the same with that.
Yeah, because like think about it. Now the movies that kids are growing up with now are so different.
Yes.
They're gonna look at that and be like, "What is that?" They're gonna be like, "Oh, that looks old." Because you know, like
I
sometimes that
guess I can agree
happens.
with that.
'Cause
If-
Yeah, it's
movies
not gonna
just
be
have
like,
such a
"Oh my
budget
gosh, this is
now."
so magical."
Yeah.
If a kid that's not an iPad kid watches the movie, you know, like it. But if it's like
it's
one of
different. Like
we have-
nowadays, kids.
Well, yeah,
they
like
need that
they have
now-
stimulating,
mental and
like
everything.
and like with the, I feel like now people are saying that like our generation grew up with like phones. Phones were not invented when we were born.
They were
You know,
not,
like we
yeah.
still grew up going outside.
Yes.
Now kids are growing up, they're handed a phone at like kinder.
Yeah, like why?
So-
why are you giving your children a phone when they are only 5?
Yeah, so
I didn't get a phone till I was
generations
11 or
are
12.
changing. How
Yeah.
kids are growing up is
Screenagers.
changing. So I think that this movie is not gonna have anywhere near the same like magical effect as
Yeah.
it did for us or
'Cause
older
kids
generations.
Nowadays, they have Elemental. They have like, and that's a beautiful movie. It's beautifully animated. They have like Turning Red. They have all
Yeah.
that. We had different kinds of movies. Like we had How to Train Your Dragon and all of that.
Tangled.
When we were growing up. Tangled. We had all of like the Renaissance kind of Disney movies when we were growing up.
yeah.
And we just had better movies.
Okay, I agree with that point, but nonetheless, I still feel like the movie like holds up. You know?
Yeah. So after hot takes, we're gonna move on to our next segment, like last episode. This is magic moments. Let's talk about the feels, the emotions. I'm gonna start us off with my magic moment. I have 2 actually. So, like EJ was saying, how it's like scared you. I have like my memory of watching E.T. for the first time, and like my family has told me this too. I would always get really stressed that scene when he's dying, and I would always be like, "Is he dead? Is he dead? Is he dead?" And like my aunt hated watching the movie with me because I would always keep asking her the same questions. She was like, "Rennie, just watch the movie. Like you'll figure it out."
Yeah.
But he does end up dying
Yeah.
for a little bit. So because of like that like stressful, high intense type of scene, I think that when he comes back to life, it is so emotional. It's so beautiful. It's like such a beautiful moment. That's one of my favorite like moments in the movie. And then I guess I'm like kind of really obvious with my magic moments, but the other one is obviously when the bikes start to fly.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's kind of what E.T.'s known
yeah.
for.
Iconic.
It's
Yeah.
like the most iconic scene. Like when
That
you
scene,
think of
I don't
E.T.,
know.
you just
It's
think
kind of
that.
like that scene's just like very emotional. I don't know why.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh, they're fine. They're getting away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Flying over the sun, the moon. Oh,
I think
I
for
love
me,
it.
I think for me, it kind of builds off. But every single time that something like important would happen, you notice one single thing that's throughout the whole movie, and that's again
the score. I
know.
knew Jack was gonna say that. Don't
listen,
use that off of him.
listen,
I agree.
musicality in a movie
Dude,
makes
the
a
first
movie.
like
music at the
7
beginning
minutes of
if
the
you can
movie
go,
where there's
if
like
you
no
can and
storytelling.
try and find a cut of a movie without music, and it just like it's kind of boring, and you're just like,
Yeah.
well, I'd like.
The
I
first
mean, it
thing
depends
I
on
know
the
care
about
vibe
nothing
of
about
the
this.
movie, but
Whereas like when it's just like it gets you in
Yeah.
your feels and everything. So like even during the bike scene, like the score during that's
Oh,
great.
yeah.
Like when he dies, like it's just like it's a big crescendo moment, and it's like it's so good.
I love how you
Yeah.
can hear like a piece of the score from E.T. and be like, that's from
Yes.
E.T.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
the bike scene.
Yeah.
You associate a song with it, and
Mm-hmm.
it makes you associate a feeling with it more.
Like,
yeah.
we talk
which
about that in
all
Star
together
Wars.
makes
Yeah, we
it
talked about
more
that in Star Wars, too.
magical, like magical moment.
Yeah, I love the music so much. Like in the beginning, that's the first thing I noticed. Is like, okay, violins.
No,
okay.
yeah, like the first
Yeah.
like
Like,
7 minutes where there's
yeah.
no
It was
words,
beautiful.
no
The
nothing.
The
just
music definitely
music.
brings like nostalgia.
It does.
It's so good.
Yes.
I think that if there was no, like, the score wasn't that impactful, the movie wouldn't.
Yeah.
Oh
be as
yeah,
much
no,
of a cultural
it's kind of similar
phenomenon.
to Star Wars.
Yes.
The
Like, the music
music
makes
kind of
the
like
movie.
makes or breaks
If
the
you
movie.
want
Yeah.
a good score, John Williams.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because he is literally on everything that like
Yeah.
is memorable. Which
Yeah.
also, it kind of sounds the same, like throughout his scores, but you can tell that there's a difference in every single movie, which
Yeah.
is so cool.
And I like how he incorporates like some kind of emotion into it. Like you can definitely tell that these musicians put their heart and soul into each piece.
Yeah,
of
Yep.
it.
Yeah.
sure.
And it's beautiful when it all comes together. Cause like music makes a movie. If
Yeah.
there's no music in a movie, you're just like, you're bored with it.
Oh, yeah.
It has nothing to add.
Think about it. High intense scenes. There's always like really high intense music,
Yes.
emotional scenes, emotional music. Like
Yeah.
the music really helps like the tone of the scene.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of like guides you of how you're like meant to feel in the scene. Like not necessarily like how you have to feel, but like
Yeah.
if it's an emotional, it's gonna be kind of emotional, you know?
Yeah. for
I just
sure.
came from orchestra and we're playing Nosferatu, and like there are some big scenes where it's like this beautiful moment, and then right after it's this dark and gritty bass part, and I play the bass, so you have to like really dig down and like find how they're feeling, and it's awesome. Like I love talking about music in movies because like it's just it makes you emotional at some points. when
And it's
supposed to be.
often overlooked too.
It
Yes.
is.
I agree, yeah.
And just the way it's shot. too.
Music.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it's shot beautifully.
So
Yeah.
creative. So much film and like the camera movement had never been done before, and it's so good.
We're moving on to our next segment. This segment is called Huh. These are moments in the movie where you audibly said huh, or you're like confused, what's happening, what's this? So who would like to kick it off?
Me. I would like to kick off the ha segment. Okay. So, my ha moment is we know that E.T. has powers,
Yes.
but they're never explained, and we never know like what exactly are his powers. Like for example, the finger when he like heals Elliot and he can like connect with him.
Yeah.
We know he can make things fly, but we don't know if he can fly himself. Like we don't necessarily know what his powers are, and they're not explained.
Yeah.
So that's kind of just like confusing. I feel like they could have gone like a little bit more
They could have gone a lot more
in depth with
it,
his
yeah.
powers in the
Yeah,
plot.
'cause they could have done
when-
more with it, but it
when
also
he was,
like
like-
adds to him being like mysterious.
When he was like
Well,
drinking
yeah.
the beer and all of that, and he was
Drinking
getting
the
drunk,
beer.
and then Elliot was getting drunk, I was like, what?
Oh, 'cause
This is a kid.
Yeah,
'Cause
because
they
this
were,
is a
like,
kid.
together,
Yeah, they
yeah.
were bonded somehow. Like they had
Yeah.
yeah, but
intertwined.
it's also like
in a
why are
way.
they bonded? I mean, I guess he's like the first person he like
Yeah.
met, but it doesn't explain
And
how
also,
they like aren't
I
bonded.
think the way how they like got bonded is the scene before that. E.T. touches Elliot's shoulder when he's like staring out the window, and he's like, "There was something scary," and then he touches his shoulder, and then it cuts to the next scene where they're like going to school, and then they're at school, and then
Oh,
E.T.
yeah.
is
The
like,
frog scene.
yeah, and I'm like, okay, but they could have maybe made that more obvious.
Yeah,
in
see,
my
like
opinion.
his powers were just not really explained, which is like kind of like,
yeah.
oh,
Yeah.
like what exactly can he do and what can't he do? You know.
Yeah.
I also have another ha moment.
Okay.
I have a lot of ha moments for this movie. But the other one is the stunt doubles on the bikes look like men. Like they look like grown adults.
Yeah.
And they're supposed to be playing little kids. So whenever
Oh,
I was
never
watching the
noticed
movie,
that.
Yeah.
I was like,
dumb.
I was watching the movie and I was like, wait, aren't these supposed to be kids? Like, why do they look like adults?
Yeah.
And like, obviously, it's a dangerous scene. Like, people, you know, they're like jumping over things,
Jumping
doing
on
tricks
bikes,
with
yeah.
bikes. Yeah,
Dude, that's
y'all not gonna risk the life of these kids
Yeah.
to do that scene. But they could have found adults that looked a little bit more like
Or, like, they
kids.
could have
Yeah,
shot
more
it
younger.
better,
like,
I
they
guess.
could have
even-
done like
yeah.
18-year-olds or
Yeah,
something.
even like
Not
young
full
adults, like
adults.
teenagers type of thing that do that. Because
Yeah.
we all know there's kids that go to the skate bar, like do that
Oh,
kind
and
of
they
thing.
do some crazy tricks.
Yeah, they could have like paid them, you know, to
Yeah.
do that. So I just think that that was a little
Yeah.
Yeah.
overlooked. Just men instead of kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that scene was sick.
My
Best
ha moment-
skater
My
montage of all
moment is like,
time.
why is E.T. so scary? Like, why does he look so terrifying?
Because he's an alien.
No, because like
He's supposed to look.
I think
Yeah.
he's supposed
Yeah.
to look scary.
I will say his neck was a little long.
his
Oh,
no,
yeah.
that
I
was
don't like
terrifying.
that it like randomly will go like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's
Like-
so.
Yeah, when I first saw E.T., like when he first appeared on screen and you could see his face, I got scared. Like if I was a kid, I would be screaming
Wasn't
and
it the
crying.
stuffed animal scene, right?
No, like
Oh, I love the stuffed
the stuffed animal
animals.
scene. It was fine, but like
It was fine. So
when,
like, oh.
when like you put the flashlight on him and then he screams. The scream is so scary. The scream is so scary.
Oh yeah, like when
Oh
Drew
my
Barrymore
gosh.
sees him and she screams and he screams and it's
Yeah.
like, oh my god, whose neck can get larger?
Yeah.
yeah, no.
Yeah,
My
that was great.
moment was that he E.T. purrs. Oh my god, I hate it so much because
It's
like
so
I was
scary.
a cat and I'm like, please stop this extraterrestrial. How do you say that?
Extra-terrestrial.
E.T. Please stop
Extra-
purring. You are not a cat.
No, like I also was very
Jack
confused by
purring.
it. He also breathes like a pug.
I've been purring for like.
No,
He
like
breathes
why
like a
is he like
pug.
all these like household pet animals like combined, morphed, and then plus a superhero?
I think my home moment is that you can see a lot of the set during the movie. So like at one point you could see like boom mics, you could see like ramps throughout the movie.
Okay, but the set design was like.
It was great set design.
Really
It was just
good.
they had a little few.
Like when I
continuity
first
errors.
saw the
Yeah.
spaceship in the beginning, I was like, okay, set design, I see you. Like
Yeah,
this
yeah.
was really good.
Yeah,
I was
no,
like,
but
Stuff
yeah.
like that. It was like just a few little things.
It's a
which,
little
like,
bit
we would
distracting
notice.
when you're like in a high intense scene and then you see a ramp in the background.
Yeah.
You're like, oh,
Yeah.
Like,
like, where did that
okay.
come from?
Yeah.
But also like you can see a still from E.T. and be like, that's E.T.
E.T..
Yeah.
Which like
Yeah.
props to the cinematographers
Yes.
and props
Oh, yeah.
and
The set
set
de-
designs.
The
Set design was
forest.
so good.
Oh, the forest was so
Oh,
good.
yeah.
Yeah,
The forest was so good.
I lived in Florida for a little bit, and
Same.
I went to Universal Orlando.
I love. Are you
Yes.
talking about the ET ride? I love the ET
I
ride.
have-
It's
never
great.
went on it.
The way they made the queue, it's like it feels like the forest. And
Yeah.
they like pump smells into the room too, so it smells like
Yeah.
ET, and it's just like it smells like what you would think. Like,
What does E.T.
like no, like the forest. It smells,
Bro, what does
it
E.T.
smells
smell
like
like?
the
I'm
forest.
so what?
ET smells like his breath, like. Imagine what that's. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, it smells like the forest, and then like you ride on the bikes and everything, and the ride it's really cool. It's really actually a weird ride. Once
I
you're actually
have
on
such
the
a
ride, but
cool memory from my childhood from that ride.
I never
Yeah.
rode it, even though
So,
I lived in
I've never
Florida
been
for
to
9
Universal.
years
I
of my
wouldn't know
life.
if you also experienced this, but like a long time ago, I went there like when I was really little with my family, and there was like iPads in the queue before, and you would type in your name, and ET would say
Yeah, he'd
goodbye
say
to you. Like he would
goodbye.
say your name
Yeah.
at the end of the ride.
But
they don't
it
do that
sounds
anymore.
Really weird though, because
Yeah.
they say it really weird.
Yeah, but they don't do that anymore. But I remember I was like, when I was really little, you go to like Disney and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm meeting like real person, you know. So I was like, ET knows my name, and it was like such a cool
Yeah.
moment. And I like whenever I think of Universal, I think of that.
It smells
Can
like
you
ET.
describe what E.T. smells
Yeah,
like?
describe that for us.
If I
Is
were
it like
to-
fruity? Like
So okay, everybody, close your eyes.
I
Close your
feel
eyes.
like
Okay.
Close your eyes.
okay.
I'm gonna explain it. Close your
Okay.
eyes. All right. So.
I'm
imagine-
scared.
Okay, set the scene, set the scene. You've got big, tall pine trees, okay? Really tall. You know the smell of pine, okay? You got the grass, a little bit of dirt, a little bit of candy smell, because it's Halloween, okay? Got a little bit of rubber from the bikes, okay? A little bit of rubber from the bikes, maybe a little sweat from Elliot, just a tiny bit. But you smell a little bit of extraterrestrial. Maybe imagine you just walked, imagine, pause.
Wait, was I the only person closing my
I had
eyes?
my eyes closed
Yeah.
and I
Can you
opened
guys
up and
vouch
made
for me
eye
that-
contact with Rennie.
Were
Guys,
you
I wanna
guys
finish.
closing
Hey,
your eyes?
close your eyes, finish.
Okay.
Okay, the ship comes, okay? Imagine the smell of a brand new Dillard's, okay? That's what it smells. That is ET, guys. That's exactly what it smells like.
Okay, so if you want to know what E.T. smells like, go to Dillard's.
Dillard's. Bring a little bit of pine straw with you, maybe a little bit of rubber.
Nah,
just kinda
Dillard's
rub
for
them
Christmas
together.
time.
make sure you're sweating a little bit.
Yeah,
and go to
yeah.
Dillard's.
Yeah, just a little bit.
little bit.
Okay, I have one more hot moment.
Okay, Queen.
Okay, so I guess this kind of also comes from like knowing about like filmmaking and stuff, because like I was talking about earlier, but there's a lot of issues with the continuity in this film. Like all of a sudden, like a Coke can changes like
yeah.
wrappers, a sandwich appears like half eaten and then it's full in the next cut.
Yeah.
E.T.'s costume changes in the Halloween scenes, and I think that's so funny. But
Yeah.
I feel like the normal average human watching this movie would not notice that. But I was like, oh, but why did that Coke can change?
Yeah,
and then
I
it changed
also
again,
have
and I was like,
another
wait, hold on. Like you can tell they were shot on different days, which you shouldn't be able to tell. But
My hot moment is, okay, in the beginning, when they're playing like D&D or something, they're smoking. There is a lit cigarette in one of the ashtrays, and I'm like, okay, these are teenagers. Why are they smoking
Because
cigarettes?
Because it was like in the 80s and in the 80s.
It was in the
Everybody
80s,
did.
but like
Everyone and their
still.
mother
I
smoked.
was like,
Yeah.
Everyone in their
no,
mama
and then
smoked.
one of the kids tries to like spank the mom.
Oh, I did not notice that.
Yeah,
I'm gonna have to go watch
no,
to
he's
see
literally
that. What?
like leaning over and about to do it, and then Michael, the brother, is like, stop it. And I'm like, I was like, what?
Wait, actually, that's crazy.
Yeah.
That's
I mean, the
crazy.
mom is a baddie.
She is.
Have you guys seen her today? She still looks good too. Okay, now we're moving on to this or that, which is our segment where we will rank all the movies that we watch on this podcast
Yes.
from best to worst.
So far, the ranking
starting
is
last podcast we have,
Return of the Jedi's
Return of the
first,
Jedi.
then Empire Strikes Back,
Yes.
and then A New Hope.
Yeah.
which I don't agree with that, but
A lot of people don't, but
Yeah.
that's our podcast.
Yeah.
We said
we're
it.
Our
we're
podcast,
a democracy
our opinion.
here,
we
so
said,
they
we
win
said
the
that
vote.
it got better as it went.
Yeah,
so,
if y'all want to hear all of that about Star Wars, go watch the last
yes,
episode.
Go watch our
that
first
means-
episode, y'all.
Yes, and that means we have to take in the fact that we said it got better as it went.
Yes.
And
Yes.
put ET somewhere either in that mix, at the bottom, at the
Or at the
top.
top, yes.
So I'm gonna come out strong and say I think it is a number 3.
I agree.
The way,
I think
the
it's
way
better than
we
New
set
Hope.
it up, I think it's better than A New Hope. Just because the feels, A New Hope is phenomenal. It's a great way, but the way we like talked about it in the last like episode, I feel like we didn't give it as much praise as it might have. So across the board, I'm gonna put 3. So
Okay, EJ, speak your truth. I can see that face.
Yeah.
I put it as a 4, just because
You're gonna put it last?
Yes, I'm putting it last
Oh my
because
gosh.
I think A New Hope was better.
Okay, I'll say my ranking would have been Empire Strikes Back, New Hope, E.T., then Return of the Jedi. Whoa. Guys.
Whoa.
Sorry.
Hey, that's
But
But
with
since
the
we have
current,
since we have to have it set with y'all's ranking, because it is a democracy here, I would put it. I guess I'd have to agree with EJ by putting it at 4.
wow.
4.
Okay.
No, I'm gonna go 3. Number 3.
Okay.
I agree with
Okay.
Jack.
How are we gonna do this tiebreaker
So
then?
so we've talked before. We're out of 2 and 2, but we've talked with Cash, our other boy that you're gonna see him
Yes.
on other episodes, and Cash has also decided to put it at number 3. So that is where ET is gonna go. Sorry
Yes.
to you two for having it not be at 4, but honestly, it's a great movie.
never
A
win.
New Hope's a great
They're
movie
preying on our
too.
downfall.
I'm close to both, but yeah, I like it number 3. So that's
I
where we're
think
gonna keep it.
E.T. Like, okay, both Star Wars and E.T. hold so much nostalgia for us. I feel like, but E.T. is just like very, very magical. I feel like
Yeah.
for
As a
the
standalone.
ones that we saw like for our childhoods, and it's also a standalone. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
Star Wars is like a whole
As a
trilogy.
standalone- as a
So
standalone,
I can
yeah.
see your point
yeah,
now.
so like Star Wars, I feel like it grows in the like nostalgia and like magic moment type of thing as it progresses throughout like the whole series.
Yeah.
But E.T. is like one and done.
Yeah.
I see your point, but were they gonna make a
So-
sequel?
They were gonna make a sequel, but it got canceled.
Good.
Good.
Yes.
For a good reason.
Yes, I feel like if they made a sequel, it would have just not
Yeah.
done good.
So
yeah.
bad.
Especially because
Yeah.
like the plot, if you don't know about this, the plot would have been that Elliot gets taken by aliens and
Yeah.
E.T. has to go and save him, which like it's basically just
E.T.
the same
on a
plot
save
that's
mission.
swapped.
Look at this thing, and tell
else
me
are you
if
gonna
he
save,
could
Elliot?
save you.
Look at this
Like,
Dillard
The way he,
smelling.
listen, the way he waddled, I was like, if he's trying to run away from some
He
aliens,
can't
and
run.
He'd be walking like those not football.
Basketball players!
Yes.
oh,
The way
okay,
they walk
back.
with like their feet like
They
this,
always
and they're, like,
they walk
Yeah.
they walk
Yeah.
like their pants are gonna fall down.
Yes.
Right.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Okay,
So,
well, guess that
Is that a
wraps
wrap?
it.
Guys,
Yes.
that's wrapped. That was our episode.
First
Yes.
on
Episode 2.
E.T.
So
episode with
next
my wife.
episode is gonna be Sound
of
of Music. Yes, very
Yes.
exciting.
Very, very exciting. If you guys like this video, leave a like and subscribe. Thank y'all for
Tune
like,
in to
viewing
next
this.
week's
Yeah, of
episode.
course.
Yes.
Tune in.
And then-
watch
yeah.
our first episode. It's Star Wars.
Yep. And
It's
Cash will be
fun.
back next week,
Yes,
guys.
he will be back for Sound of Music.
Yes.
So-
and then Instagram's down in our bio
Yes,
too.
Yes.
the
Please go
Instagram.
follow.
Make sure to follow the Instagram. We put
We
a
And
post
you
bunch
a
of-
bunch
you
on
can
there.
find
We post
our
a bunch of-
personal Instagrams through the podcast
We
Instagram. if
also
you
have
wanna
a
follow us.
TikTok, which we forgot to
We
mention in the first
do.
episode. Same username as the Instagram.
Yes. JEREC podcast.
And we're posting teasers and everything on there. So
Yes.
be sure to tune in.
Super dope. Super fun.
All right.
Alrighty.
We'll see y'all next week with Sound of Music.
Bye,
Thank
guys.
you for watching. Thanks for watching.